Well, good evening, guys and girls. We're in lockdown again, part 2. So I hope you're all keeping safe. I'm currently down in Rugby, or just outside Rugby at the moment. I'm shop fitting, and construction isn't affected by this lockdown for some reason. So thankfully, I'm at work and earning some money. So things are looking up. Helen is back at home. She's got the dogs with her, so I've got all this camper to myself, and it's like, well, I've got all the floor space back, so it's like heaven at the moment. So anyway, I've only been down here a couple of days, and I thought, well, I'll say hi and just to keep you guys posted. So I'm just doing some editing on a vlog I did probably about 2 months ago now on the tank water level sensors, without droning on too much. We had one of the motorhome ones and it just weren't working for us. So any of you guys out there with large water tanks, 300-400 litres, or any of you guys what are building sort of like a large scale motorhome where you're going to be carrying lots of water, then forget the motorhome, the caravan stuff, you need one of these. Well, good morning again, and thanks for joining me. Today the postman has just delivered my Topargee water meter. It's for the camper van, and as I've mentioned in previous videos, we carry 400 litres on the camper, and the water gauge what I've got at the moment will only read either full, empty, or 2 marks in between. Now, admitted that the 2 marks are always going to be set the same on the tank, but once one light goes out, you don't know whether we're just below, we'll call it 300 litres, or whether we're near enough like 100 litres. So we're constantly guessing how much water is left in the tanks. Is there enough to have a shower? We're down on the last light, and it's like, have we got enough? Have we got enough water in the shower? Have we got enough water in the tank to have a shower? So hopefully, this is going to take the guesswork out of how much water is left in the tank. So this is from a marine rated shop, so it's for shipping, and it's also for tanks that are where you can't have an height gauge as well, a fill gauge. So some of the tanks I believe on ships actually like plastic bags or plastic balloon, and it expands and then contracts with how much water you've got in there. So what this actually does is counts litre by litre the water you use. So I'm hoping that we're going to get into a position where if I have a shower, and I have a shower for like 3.5 minutes on average, then I know I'm going to be using X amount of litres. So it's going to take the guesswork about how much water we've got in the tank. So let's get this open. So that's what it says on the box. And let's see what we've got then. So we've got the this looks to be the display gauge. This also works directly off the 12-volt system. They do 2 types of this. The flush mounted one is 12 volt. I DC, and the other one has batteries in the back. So obviously we've gone for the 12-volt one. So that's your display gauge. And then this thing here should be, yeah, this has got a little propeller in there, and this should actually go in between your pipeline, so as water's coming through it's turning the little propeller in there, and it's counting how many litres you're using. So it's a lot more accurate than the tank gauge is what I've got at the moment. I've had to buy with it, I've had to buy a power, no, not a power extension lead, but an extension lead for going in between the display unit and this unit. So this is a 3 meter extension lead. So we've seen this panel many a time, and one of the reasons why this has never been really complete is because I knew things were changing up here, so it's one of the things I keep putting off. So this is the culprit here with the push button, and you get the lights. Like I said, we've got one seam, top one seam full, second one, the bottom one seam empty, and then the two in between are anybody's guess. So this is the one what we're going to change. So I've got to get the cable now, I've got to get the new control panel up here, and then run the cable probably behind this cupboard here, down behind this cupboard, across the where the step is, and then into this cupboard here and down at low level. So that's probably going to be harder than the rest of everything else really. So yeah. Small screws. And like I said before, the hardest thing about doing any job in here is just shifting the amount of gear to start off with. I've had to take everything out of the cupboard there, the electric cupboard. I've tidied up some cables. Alright, I should have done that last time I were in there. I gave it a good clean out as well, because you get dust in there, and we've got dog biscuits on the door, so they sometimes fall in there. So yeah, I've cleaned that out. Just to run the cable now, I've got to like take the helmets out, and it's just all the time this space now around me is just getting less and less. So like I say, half the battle is just moving stuff. So yeah. So I guess the first thing I should be doing is just making sure I've got enough cable. I think 3 meter is the longest cable, extension cable they do anyway. So if this isn't going to be long enough, then I'm going to have to solder a little bit of an extension on this or something. So we'll see. But yeah, this is going to be much better than the previous motorhome slash camper van type, you know, level, gauge level. Yeah, that's lovely. Nice little bit of ducting tape around here to match the rest, and yeah, I'll be happy with that. So what I've got to do is fit this little counting device somewhere down in between the tanks and the pump, or after the pump. So I'm going to have a look at that. It's basically in line, so we've got 2 brass fittings, which will PTFE on there, and then the pipe can go on there with a Jubilee clip. Right, I've got the cable now from the control panel around the back of these cupboards basically, and then into the bottom section of the electric cupboard. So yeah, I've got the, like I said earlier, we've got the filters here, we've got all the electrics above, but this connector now is going to be positioned just down at the bottom, just in between these two filters. So like I said, the water comes from the tanks at the other side of this wall, through the filter, through the pump, through number 1 filter, through number 2 filter, and then doubles around and then comes back down, and then it travels on its way towards the kitchen. So I'm just going to install this down here now. So that's the gauge in place. I've just got the 12 volt to connect to the display now, and I've just said to Ellen what we'll do while I've got this cleaned out. I'm going to sterilise the tanks as well, so I'm going to do the tanks and then change the filters as well on the water system. It's about that time of year when I do it anyway, so yeah, I'm just going to continue on to sterilising the tanks and that. So there's always another job, isn't there? So right, pushing on. So the sensor is actually in and working now. We had a little bit of problem with the control panel and getting that just set correctly, but I've done. I've made a slight error, and yeah, I've put the sensor down at the bottom here, and I've put it down here because the cable is that's the maximum reach on the cable there. So as I've mentioned before, the cold water comes in via the pump, the 2 filters, wraps around and goes over the top and then back down, basically does a loop and then goes past the sensor. But what I've mistakenly done is this T-piece here comes up and is the cold feed to the shower. So the cold feed to the shower is actually before the sensor, so that's not going to be counted on the water usage. So what I've got to do is this pipe's going to the sensor is slightly longer anyway, so I'm going to take out the T-piece here, connect that straight onto this electronic switch, this pressure switch, and then I'm going to have to just get a new length of pipe what feeds the cold feed, and put that in after the sensor, the water gauge sensor. So I'm gonna have to move that across there. So I've not finished yet. Yeah, so I just need about 1.5 meters of hose now, and we'll have to continue this probably tomorrow. But we'll show you a quick sample of what we've got. So obviously this is just temporarily screwed on here. You know why that is. So can I just ask you to turn on the switch, please, the tap. So when we turn on the tap, we've got water running through the pipe, and then if we keep it running, you'll see that there's 358, that's the amount of litres left, and then that should go to 357. There you go, 357. So we know exactly now how many litres we've got left, which, you know, everything's working perfectly. It's just my little mistake, but I'm not perfect. I try to be, but and she's laughing at me now, look. Right, so this is the second day on just modifying this water tank fill system. So I positioned the sender unit yesterday, and like I said, I made a mistake, or not so much a mistake, but I just didn't realise that the cold water feed to the shower actually tees off slightly before that. And I suppose why the mistake came about was when I measured the cable from the control panel down to here. I needed the cable to be about, or the extension cable to be about 3.5 meters, and the longest one they sell is 3 meters, so I know it was going to be tied. So I probably would have put the sender unit up here, something like that, but as it happens, with the cable or the length of cable, I could only get it down at the bottom there, which is fine. There's no problem with that. But I'm more concentrating on the position of that rather than actually seeing this cold shower feed. Well, that's my excuse, and I'm going to stick to it. So today, the cold shower feed, I've got a more longer piece of pipe, so we're going to take this off, remove the tee from where it is now, put it in after the sender unit, and then connect it all back up. So it's not much of a long job, but to get the the litres working correctly and everything, we've got to do it. We tested it last night, just running the sink and running the toilet and everything, and it's working fine, and you can see litre by litre what we've got left. So I suppose the next stage from that is, I can have a shower and I can see precisely what I'm using for a shower. Helen can have a shower, we can see precisely what she's using, so we know once we're down to the last quarter of a tank, it's possible for us both to have a shower, rather than just guessing, is the water going to run out halfway through a shower. So we know exactly litre by litre where we stand. Right, okay, right, on with the job in hand. So this is incidentally a drain, so if any water is leaked from here, any leaks or anything, then it fills up this area but then leaks through here, and this is just a little bit of sponge just to put in there, just to keep out any creepy crawlies, but also that allows any water to go that way. So as you can see, the level sensor is working fine. Once you get down to your desired literage, the alarm goes off. I think that must have been flashing for about 10 seconds, flashes red as well, and it cuts out. So that's great. So there you have it, guys, the Topargee water tank gauge. As I've said, it's much superior to the motorhome / caravan ones. Litre by litre, you know what you're getting, and it just makes life much easier. We're probably getting more out of us tanks as well, because rather than not knowing what we've got left in the tanks and then filling them up, I know now that I can look at the gauge. If it says 40 litres, I know I've got enough for a shower. So it's just made it much better. The Topargee retails round about £112 up to about £130, depending on which model you want. Like I said, there are two models. One's the 12 volt DC, and then the other one is 12 volt that runs on batteries. So yeah, it's your choice. But if you're doing a project like this, where you're doing a camper van and you're talking, vast amount of water, get yourself one of these, because they are definitely worth it. I'm going to put a link in the description so you can see which one I've gone for, and you can have a look at them. Right. Till next time then, please like and subscribe, and please share. Hopefully we'll get through this lockdown all together. Be safe, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.